Welcome back, everyone, to Intelligent Voices Israelites. I am your brother, your friend, Yashrael Yashambaya. Sorry for the technical glitches that we had with the internet. As we know, all of us who are RVI, the devil is constantly trying to tamper and mess around with our channel and to disconnect our network here and there, wherever they find possible to do. So we lost connection just a moment ago, so we have to had to restart our video, and most of the time, these technical difficulties, everyone, comes from YouTube and the network internet. So many brothers and sisters might be having that same problem. It's just because they cannot handle the truth, brothers and sisters. So that's why I always tell you to make sure you come prepared, because sometimes they will do that glitch thing, cut your video off while you're teaching or we are assembled together, because they cannot handle the truth. Okay, period. So now that's heathen. That's a heathen. That's a Gentile. So now y'all know. So for y'all who therefore were lost in the last stream, we welcome you back here to IVI as we continue. Now, as we was talking about set apart and how our walk with the path to being set apart is hard for most brothers and sisters, as we have seen. We've seen Hebrews 4 and wide are struggling to walk the walk and continue on the path of righteousness. As we see, Yah has set before them truth to be told, that the path, when you do become set apart and your mind realize your heart follows, then therefore you will become set apart by the possession and of that grace of Yahweh. Because here it is, he says, truth be told, as in my logics, that the path is difficult in the trials, because we have enemies everywhere. So here it is. That means your brothers, your sisters, family members, co-workers, neighbors, down to the dog and cat. Those who are therefore out of behavior are basically in covetousness with the world. So he says we have enemies everywhere, both in the world that we can see and the ones that we can't see. Now we know the scriptures tell us about dark principalities that we cannot see, against flesh and blood, and so on and so on. One thing Hebrews have to realize is that being set apart, brothers and sisters, is truly what is needed in order to complete this walk. See, you got to fight for your life. And this is why we tell brothers and sisters, fight for your life, because here it is. We want you to understand that this spiritual grace comes by the hearing. So when one person hears the truth and they are in search of that truth, it makes it easier for them to complete, because here it is, they're separating themselves from the old habits, right? Now we got many brothers and sisters tuning in here by phone as well. So shalom, shalom to sister. And we also have Yazrael, Yamaikaya, who have tuned in as well. So now, and many other brothers, as we see, and then we see some are incognito. But for those new brothers and sisters, here it is. You will be therefore revealed soon. So it's good that you're listening and you're paying attention, because this whole study is about this struggle that many brothers and sisters that we see, who say that they are saved and want to be saved, and they want this and they want that. But here it is. They are not coming near to get it, because here it is, this is not what they truly want. They want to live in a way that is not pleasing to Father. So now what we see, what does it mean though to be set apart? So now we have seen in the dictionary holy, which means a pagan word, which have no bearings of power. But here it is in understanding. But here it is. We have found out that set apart is in the scrolls or in the scripture, as Yah has uh, examined, or here it is, gave us many examples of how he set apart us. Now, and what are the consequences, though, of failing to be set apart, brothers and sisters? We see a lot of things in Deuteronomy 28, right? And we see a lot of other things that we can read in the Bible that tells us when we don't be obedient to the gospel of truth, once heard and felt with the heart, and you disobey, then there is a punishment. When the people of Israel were freed, now understand, when they were freed from Egypt by Moses, the bondage of Egypt. Remember when Moses went and got the Israelites out of Egypt? Now, this is a good example why we're using this, because Yah says, I have always set apart and I have always did this. Why? Because good and bad shouldn't be together. Light and darkness shouldn't be together, but separated. And now we see when Moses came, he led them into the wilderness to serve, right? To serve who? Yahweh. They couldn't serve him in Egypt. So what had to happen? My father, your father had to take them and therefore separate them and pull them away, because here it is, they were becoming more in tune to the Egyptians. So now Moses and Aaron showed up and they were led into the wilderness to serve Yah, their Elohim. Yah, now understand, my father, your father, Yahuwah, in Yahweh's name, he wanted to make them set apart. Now we know there's movies and the seeing Israel go into the wilderness. They complained against Aaron and Moses and even the sisters as well. Now he says clearly, you must be pure. Because here it is, this is why everyone is being set apart, even today. Brothers and sisters who now have been possessed by my Father, such as I am, have now been set apart from what? All evil, intentions of evil as well. Because here it is not us anymore, because we have died and resurrected in the spirit of Yeshua, who have now set us apart from judgment, right? So you must be pure, because I, Yah, am pure. I have set you apart from all others people, he says, to be my very own. Now, when we look at this in Leviticus chapter 20, verse 26, right? He clearly says, I have set you apart from all people, right? To be my what? Very own. Now, understand what Yah says. Yah says there are various Hebrews, it is, that don't know that in the beginning, Eber was always meaning Hebrew. So here it is. Then later came English, okay, from Latin, Greek, okay, Aramaic, okay. And we see that the comparisons of all languages, which now have been set apart from the historical language, Hebrew. Most of our brothers and sisters don't know anything about Hebrew when you mention that word, that it ties them back to Africa, the lineage, okay, as an Israelite individual out of the sons of Noah, okay. So now what we see now blows up even bigger, brothers and sisters. We see that there are various Hebrew words, right, throughout the scriptures, which all boils down to this basic meaning in English. When you look at Eber and then you transfer that to English, it means to be set apart, a people to be set apart, a nation to be set apart, right? A particular, here it is, Israelites under a particular new covenant, right? So now we see set apart, and also in the dictionary, you will see separated, right? So now in case of this Leviticus 20, verse 26, this is a transliterated word meaning to be separated or to disjoin. So that means here it is, one must disjoin or therefore be separated, just like a marriage. When you look at the divorce court, you know, you see you have an attorney or a judge, and here it is, the main reason you are there because you're about to be separated or disjoined, right? And here it is, we come to find out it means to be separated. And now we go to Genesis. Now, when we look at Genesis, no, we're not going to go to Genesis first. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 26. And here it is. When you go to Exodus chapter 26, we see clearly in verse 33, hang the veil from, here it is, the clamps, the ark of the covenant you shall bring inside. See that? Beside or behind this veil, Watch this, which divides. So now this go hand in hand with the precept of the logic of the dictionary explaining holy and realizing that here it is. Eber was the first language before English. Now, when English came, it still meant in Eber, which was Hebrew, to be set apart or disjoint from all evil, as we see in the book when the ark of the covenant or the tabernacle was set up. And here it is, the veil was the divider between certain pieces of furniture and areas. So now look at Genesis chapter 1. So when we go back here, brothers and sisters, watch this. Genesis chapter 1, verse 4. Yahuwah saw that the light was good. See that? He saw that the light was good. Yahuwah saw that the light was good. Yahuwah then what? Separated. There we go. Separated. That means disjoint or detached. He separated the light from darkness. So now we realize that every day comes from sunset to sundown. That is constituting a day. Now, we did a video in our archives, what constitute a day. I advise all new brothers and sisters to go view that. Why? So you can realize what constitute a day, because many brothers and sisters still think 24 hours is a day. And that is wrong, because you've been taught that from your schools as well. 24 hours is in a day. No, 12 hours is in a day. When the sun goes down, that's the end of your day. Now this is devil hours, okay? From evening all the way up into sunset, which therefore is void. The night is a void. It's not even counted. So here it is. That means it doesn't exist in my Father's eyes, only the day, okay? But here it is. What you do in the void also stipulates judgment. Because here it is, you are supposed to be at complete rest when the sun goes down as well, till the sun comes back up. You're supposed to be still in your natural sense. Now, we have looked up the word and seen that here it is, set apart and separated. And we're going to do that again, because here it is, it means to be conscious and aware when you are set apart. And here it is, for this reason. And we see now in Genesis chapter 1, verse 4. Now, among the other senses for this entry are to separate from the rest. So now to enhance it means to separate from the rest, brothers and sisters. That means those who are wicked, those who are still in the world, those who you're trying to tell the truth to and they're not listening. These are the ones to be separated from, okay? Because here it is, they have heard the call just as you. But here it is, they haven't really been stimulated in a way to therefore come near. So now what do we see? To depart from a place, among many others, to review. Yah literally separated the children of Israel in a physical sense, as we just read, by taking them from among the Egyptians and removing them from their land altogether. He took them completely out of Egypt. And that the wall was a spiritual cloud or a veil, which turned into a pillar of light at night, allowing them to know this oath stands for you to be separated from all of the wicked heathen Gentile people. And here it is. When that light came and settled between the Egyptians, when they fled, remember, before they crossed the Red Sea, the Dead Red Sea, here it is, and before it split. So now he says, now as I put in my logic notes here, 1 second. This cloud settled between the Egyptians' camps, as we can read here in verse 4. And here it is, we can see also, as darkness fell, the camp or the light turned, lighting up the night, but the Egyptians and the Israelites did not approach each other all night, as you can read that, brothers and sisters. And here it is, as we see in Exodus chapter 14. Watch this. Exodus chapter 14, verse 20, give us much clarity. So that it came between the Egyptians and that of Israel. And when it became, watch this, dark, the light illuminated. See that? The light illuminated. That means they saw Yah's presence. Just like you would see a light in a picture that is caught coming out of the sky. This is what they saw, which is the spirit of Yahuwah, the Father, right? So now realize, Yah instructed Pharaoh to let his people, Israelites, go so that they could what? Serve him. That's what we read earlier, right? And to go into the wilderness, as we see Exodus 7, verse 16. So let's go to Exodus 7, verse 16, because we won't make sure every brother and sister here understand that here it is, the truth is here at IVI, and we're going to walk with Father as he teaches us. Now watch this. 7 verse 16. These are the names of the sons of Levi. See that? In the genealogical order. So now here it is. You see that Levi lived 137 years, Kohath and Merith. And here it is. We can see that Levi's was the teacher who therefore, as Moses came out of the north and coming out of Esau, which was his ancestress lineage, right? So that means Moses came out of the north, and here it is, was brought into Egypt later, as we know the story of his mother, and we know the story of Pharaoh's daughter. So now we see the instructions was given now to Pharaoh, let my people go so they can serve me in the wilderness. In order to properly serve Yahuwah, Israel had to set apart or be set apart, right? From the corrupt nations that held them captive, was the Egyptians. And here it is. We know Canaan was also very paganist and idolatry worshiping, right? But here it is. Being set apart meant in part Israel being removed from among the heathens, right? And living, and here it is, living behind the spiritual wall of separation that was created so that no interactions could continue between them with those of the heathens and the Gentiles, right? So now here it is. Logic is allowing you to see, brothers and sisters, why the precepts in logic and key words are necessary for teaching. Because here it is returning you back to the Eber consciousness, okay, of understanding why many have been bamboozled out of the theological sense of the truth. So now here it is. We are seeing examples of why being set apart is being important. Why you must come out of the nighttime hanging. Why you must therefore come out of your wastefulness of thinking and desires that therefore it's not going to hold up because the world is ending. So now here it is. You got to realize you must catch up like soda to the foam, because here it is. You're wasting time with your mind. And here it is. And you are not gravitating to the gratitude, because here it is. Yah is telling you, I am regathering and recalling all to be set apart from her, the world, the mystery Babylon as well. As in one of the sense, here it is, as we see, set apart, which we know that we covered. We know that Israel was previously mixed together with Egypt. Okay, then Joseph called his family out of Canaan into Egypt. So now, like an exotic fruit salad, Yah decided to pick out the fruit he preferred, the kind that was pure, to be pure, brothers and sisters, as he is pure, my brothers and sisters. So being set apart also means that you are sealed. See that? That means you are sealed. Favor have now turned into a seal. So now brothers and sisters said they are favored, but here it is. What about being sealed? Because you can lose your favor if it's not sealed. So now he says being set apart also means that you are sealed as one of Yah's or Yahoo or Yahweh's and designated for the service which he picks or place upon you, woman or male. See, those who are set apart belongs to Yah because, in other words, the fulfillment of the exclusivities that is clearly spelled out in the scriptures. See, when we hear well, we learn well. And when we learn well, we feel well in the heart. And this is why Yah says, I must write my laws on your heart. I must circumcise you, not with the flesh, but circumcise you with my spirit. Because he says it is the fulfilling and the exclusivity that is clearly spelled out in your Hebrew book. So those who do not belong to Yah do as they please, as we see, brothers and sisters, that we try, here it is, to recover by our presence. And here it is, they don't take that in exchange for worthiness because of the world have possessed them. And that means that many brothers and sisters are lost to the world. And that means here it is, they don't have the fulfilling of the spirit of Yahweh, because here it is, they hear all the time what the right things to do, but here it is, they are so intrigued with the wrong things to do. So here it is, we are seeing many brothers and sisters are lawless. Now let's look up the word lawless. Now, as we do, we go to the dictionary. I hope many brothers and sisters who are just tuning in with us have downloaded their dictionaries on their phone, or if you have a physical book dictionary, that is cool, which is up to date. Because here it is, it will bring you more into the scroll of the pages of the book of the Hebrew Bible, which is your historical record book. I am your brother, your friend, Yazrael Yashamba Yah. And we are in great discussing here in this segment, broadcast here on YouTube, about our struggled brothers who therefore don't understand what being set apart truly means. Even as a Christian, they don't understand. So hopefully this teaching in this segment will help the brothers and sisters, which we know will, because it is not my will, but the will of my Father who is in me. So now understand, being sealed as one of Yah's and designated for the service that he therefore give unto you. Those who are set apart belongs to Yah, in other words, fulfilling the exclusivities, which is spelled out, as I have said again, in the scripture. And therefore, you would therefore be compelled to the new commandments under Yahweh, but you will see all of the brothers and sisters, co-workers, neighbors, who are still remaining lawless. So now let's put that word in, law, less. Now, when we put it in the dictionary, lawless, it means they give you several examples. Not regulated, that means not official. And that means not official based on the real law. Number two, not restrained. This is what lawless means. Controlled by another law or lawless people. So now you see that that is clear in the Bible. I mean, in the dictionary as a key word coming from logics that has been researched, discovered, and rediscovered with the precepts. So now Yah says, here it is, seeing they are lawless, but Yah's property, he has set us all apart, brothers and sisters, because we follow him. We operate within his framework, which is through his son, Yahweh, who have taken full possession of our will and now have given us the law, his law, which remains within us, which possesses us, not being corrupted, because here it is, anything that's corrupted is outside, see that, of us. Because here it is, we don't take inwardly things that is corrupted, we take in the truth. And by anything outside, forces or people, because they are faithful, see that? Because we became faithful. and those who are outside became more unfaithful. So now know that Yah has set us apart, which are the faithful for himself. Yahweh here when we call. Now, when we went to Psalms, um, chapter 4, verse 3. And if we turn to that, this is going to give us more interpretation, because here it is in Psalms chapter 4, verse 3. Some of you might be there already. So now in Psalms chapter 4, this is the trust in Yah, right? So now we see, how long, O people, will you be hard of heart? Didn't I just say that? Did my father just explain that? This is why the circumcision must happen. And this is why IVI have been created, because here it is. This will give you the power to overcome the struggle and really understand what it means to be set apart truly as a Christian or any brother or sister. Because here it is, you will be returning back to your natural state of mind, which is an Israelite. So now, as we seen here in Psalms, the time will come when Yah will again remove his people, which is Israelites, from among the heathen nations, as he's doing now. This is why brothers and sisters are waking up, so they can serve him, right? And be set apart in every sense. Because here it is, once you come out of the world, you come clearly into the book of the Bible. Your historical record book now finds you through the Spirit of Yahweh. This is the promise that is given to the Israelites who are being regathered, brothers and sisters. As we see, it is spoken of in several important prophecies. Yet this setting apart will be the substance. That's right. It will be a substance, because the Spirit of Yahweh compels the person. Now your flesh, which is sin, which came from Eve, temptation from the snake, this is what caused the snake now to be cursed to the ground. The flesh, the dust now have become contaminated. And we got a video also in our archive about contaminated blood. For those brothers and sisters want to know why our mothers, why our parents, why our friends, why our co-workers, why our neighbors are not reaching for this Bible in full truth. It's because they're outside of it and they're becoming more possessed by the world every second. So now here it is in Psalms 4 and 3. And now here it is. We see that this is a substance that of Yah, shadowing that what was the Exodus of Moses. As we see today, people are being regathered. People are basically seeing the world change, and we are seeing it become another world, a third world. And here it is, country, and many people are being stipulated under the power of, here it is, communism. And we can see that clearly, that this America is changing. And here it is, Yah is calling out his set apart, because he's saying, here it is, you ain't gonna go through what those who are outside of my law is going through. You'll be totally grafted in if you obey. Thank you, Father. In return. So now we see the substance shadows that of the Exodus from the bondage of Egypt. Now understand, Yah Elohim said, when I gather the house of Israel. Think about that. He was saying the Israelites that were lost under the tribes, and when they come back, they coming back under who? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, who are strong in the 144,000 that will help me regather Israel, which was of Jacob. So now you can see all these puzzle pieces coming together, right? Because now you can see that Father is truly demonstrating something that has been missed from the understanding of the follower or the so-called brother or sister. So now he says, when I gather the house of Israel from the people among whom they are scattered. Now, what main people were scattered? The Africans. And they were taken through the four corners of the earth, right? And now ancestors brought on more, here it is, offsprings from the plantation. So now he says, I will sanctify them in the sight of the nation. What nation? And all of the nations that therefore have put you in captivity, all of the nations that therefore have bamboozled you out of your money, and all the nations that have done cruelty to you. He says, I will sanctify them in the sight of the nation. Then they will live in the land which I gave to my servant. Here it is, Judah. So now here it is. It was Israel, but Israel lost his way. Jake, yes, he went into Christianity, while Judah remained hardened to Christianity, because we knew that that wasn't the law to follow, to be baptized in water when we are baptized with the Spirit. So now we can see the difference between the two tribes of Judah and those of Israel. Those of Israel are still waking up to the truth. They're still strengthening their hearts, right? Because here it is, they're getting knowledge day by day, which is putting together the puzzle pieces to who they are and what their purpose or and is, right? So now in my logic, then they will live in their land which I gave to their servants Judah. Go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 28. And when you get there, 28, we're going to be looking and viewing let's view verse 25. But before we do verse 25, let's look at verse 5. Though your great wisdom is treading, you heap up riches for yourself. Your heart is haughty because of your riches. See that? Therefore, this is the Almighty Yahuwah. Now go to verse 25 of Ezekiel chapter 28. This says the Almighty Yahuwah, when I gather the house of Israelites from the people among whom they are scattered, and I manifest my, here it is, they got holiness, my set apartness through them. See that? Through them. So this is clearly a possession, brother. He says through you. So that means one have to control you by possession, right? In order to do a will through you, just like the devil use his minions, right? But here it is, they are completely destroyed. But Yah says, I'm completely giving you eternal life. But he said, set apart through them in the sight. See that? That means that the world can see us different. They can see the so-called waking up. And here it is. This is from all nationalities. This is people from all different backgrounds coming, being waking up in the conscience of awareness, right? And he says, in the sight of the nations, then they shall live. Right there. Then they shall live. Now, in your book, it says in the land. But here it is. In the scrolls, it says, then they shall live in eternal kingdom. That's what it would have said in the scrolls. If you go to Israel and visit, boom, you'll be able to get connected, be able to see, and be able to allow one to read the scrolls and therefore show you what was really there and why Rome have traded and taken everything and locked it up from you. But y'all said, wait a minute. I wrote the book. So what is locked up is still locked up in Rome, but it is not locked up in my spirit, because I can use everyone that comes and believes in the truth to therefore release what is being locked up in Rome. So you would know the truth, even to Catholics who are basically being hindered from the truth. Protestants being hindered from the truth. Because here it is, the devil is setting you apart from the truth. when you're supposed to fight to set yourself apart from the devil. See, this is a reversing, revolving door that's kept opening and closing because people's minds are not made up strong yet. This is why Father says you cannot come to me in partiality. You have to come to me with your whole heart, with your whole mind and spirit. Do you see brothers and sisters putting in a whole mind and spirit to learn the gospel of truth from a servant of Yahuwah, brother or sister? Because I know many of you probably done ran into that problem with many of your friends, many of your coworkers, many of your neighbors, many of your family. But now you have realized you're not the black sheep, you're the white sheep of the family. And this is why many brothers and sisters are being outcast among their family and friends, because here it is, they know you don't belong in the darkness, you belong in the light. But here it is, there is a command in their law too to steal those who are in the light to bring them to the dark, just as we are in the light to bring those from the dark to the light. See, life is fighting for death and death is fighting for life, brothers and sisters. So here he says, I will sanctify them in the sight of the nations, then they will live. See that? Which I gave my servant Judah. See that? And it got Israel. But you know,